the verge of collapse. Other than that, we were doing pretty well. So we have come under Democratic administrations and under Republican administrations. What we have seen is a shrinking of the American middle class. Today we have 47 million people living in poverty, and almost all new wealth and income today is going to the top 1%. Now, my Republican colleagues get very, very nervous when we talk about distribution of wealth. They start shuddering. But what I want everybody here to know is that in the last 30 years, there has been an enormous and huge, if I may say so, distribution of wealth. The problem is it has gone in the wrong direction. Today, while the middle class is poor, the top 1/10 of 1% has seen a doubling of the percentage of wealth they now own. Trillions of dollars have gone from the hands of working families to the top 1/10 of 1%. So when people criticize me and they say, Bernie, you're thinking big, you're coming up with these big numbers, you want to do all of these things for working families, we can't afford it. Well, I'll tell you what we cannot afford. We cannot afford to see a doubling in the percentage of wealth the top 1/10 of 1% owns. We cannot and should not have afforded to spend trillions of dollars in a war in Iraq that we never should have gotten into. We cannot afford hundreds of billions of dollars in tax breaks for the richest people in this country. The American people are angry, and they have reason to be. They're angry because they want longer hours for lower wages, knowledge, education. They know that the people on top are doing phenomenally well in a rigged economy. They know that it is not what America is about when the top 1/10 of 1% now owns almost as much wealth as the bottom 90%. They know that it is immoral and unsustainable when the 20 wealthiest people in this country now own more wealth than the bottom half of our country, 150 million Americans. Shame is right. Shame is right. I want to tell you, just give you one example of what a rigged economy is about. The wealthiest family in this country is the Walton family of Walmart. Wealthiest family. Now, my Republican colleagues go around this country and they talk about the need for welfare reform, how poor people are ripping off the welfare system. Let me be very clear and tell you that the largest beneficiary of welfare in this country is the Walton family, the wealthiest family on earth. How is it? I'll tell you how it is. Now that you've asked. Walton family, Walmart, pays wages so low that many of their employees are forced to be on Medicaid, food stamps, and subsidized housing. Guess who pays for the food stamps, Medicaid, and the subsidized housing? You! They are very appreciative of your help in subsidizing Walmart. But I say to the Walton family, you know what? Get off of welfare, pay your workers a living wage. the federal minimum wage today, which many states also have, of $7.25 an hour, is a starvation wage. Nobody can live on $7.25. You can't live on $8. You can't live on $10 an hour. Am I right? That is why we're going to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. And I'll tell you what else we're going to do. The men in this room, I know, are going to stand with the women in the fight for pay equity. Every month, the federal government comes out with a number of reports on unemployment. Officially, unemployment is 5%. Anybody believe that? It's a brilliant audience. It's not. Real unemployment, which includes people who have given up looking for work and people who are working part-time when they want to work full-time, is close to 10%. 10%. And let me tell you something even scarier. Youth unemployment for kids who graduated high school real youth unemployment 36%, African American kids 51%. Now that is a tragedy. Put yourself in the place of these kids graduate high school, want to get their feet on the ground, want to leave home, want to become adults, want to earn a living. In many cases, they can't do it. More tragic. And that is that if anybody in this room thinks there is not a connection between those high unemployment youth rates and the fact that we have tragically more people in jail than any other country on earth, you radical idea. You ready for a radical idea? The radical idea is that we are going to invest in education and jobs for our kids, not more jails and more incarceration. Let me say a word about some of my Republican colleagues who are running around Nevada and all over this country. They talk about family values. You hear them talking about family values? I want everybody here to know what they mean by family values. What they mean is that no woman in this room, in this state, in this country should have the right to control. This federal government should defund Planned Parenthood. I believe we should increase funding for Planned Parenthood. What they mean is that our gay brothers and sisters should not have the right to get married. I disagree. My wife Jane and I have been married for 27 years. We've got 4 kids, 7 beautiful grandchildren. We believe in family and family values. But when I talk about family values, I talk about ending the international embarrassment of the United States being the only major country on earth that does not guarantee paid family and medical leave. In Nevada today, in Vermont, women are giving birth to beautiful babies. It is a big, big day for mom, for dad, baby as well. But, and here is something that we should be deeply concerned about. If that mom in Nevada or Vermont is working class or low income, the likelihood is that 1 week or 2 weeks after giving birth to that beautiful baby, she's going to have to separate herself from the baby, go back to work to earn the income she needs to take care of that baby. Every industrialized country on earth guarantees paid family and medical leave. And in fact, the overwhelming majority of developing poor countries guarantee paid family and medical leave. It is pathetic that we are one of the very few countries in the world that does not. That is why we will pass legislation guaranteeing 3 months paid family leave. If I might, I want to tell you a story which kind of encapsulates everything that this campaign is about. When I talk about a corrupt campaign finance system, when I talk about a rigged economy, and when I talk about a broken criminal justice system. Today in Nevada, today in Vermont, some kid is going to get picked up for possessing marijuana. And that kid will have a police record for the rest of his life. And someday, that kid is going to go walking into a job interview. The employer is going to say, have you ever been arrested? Well, yes, I was. Well, thank you very much. I got somebody else to talk to. All right. Number two, some of you may know that a few weeks ago, Goldman Sachs, one of the largest financial Wall Street institutions in the country, they reached a settlement with the federal government for $5 billion. Other banks have reached even larger settlements. And they reached this settlement, obviously, because what they were doing is selling worthless packages of subprime mortgage loans, practices which were devastating to your state and to much of the country. Point number 3. Over the years, financial institutions like Goldman Sachs have made very, very large campaign contributions to candidates of their choice. They have also been known to pay rather generous speaking fees. And this is what goes on in Washington. There is what is called a revolving door. You know what that is? All right, a revolving door is people from Wall Street or corporate America go to government and then they go back to Wall Street. In the case of Goldman Sachs, over the last 25 years, 2 of their top executives became secretaries of the Treasury under Republican administration and Democrat, and dozens of others assumed very important positions in government. That is what political power is about. You make large campaign contributions, you place your Wall Street people in important positions in government. 4th point, and maybe the most emotional, the one that gets people upset the most. Started off by telling you about that kid who gets arrested for possessing marijuana and gets a police record. Turns out that of all the executives on Wall Street, the people whose recklessness and illegal behavior drove this economy into the worst recession since the 1930s, helped destroy the lives of millions of people who lost their jobs, their homes, their life savings. Guess how many of those executives have police records? 0. And it is because of things like that that people's faith in the political system is withering. And that is why we will restore justice to a broken criminal justice system. And by the way, when the largest financial institutions in this country today are bigger than they were when we bailed them out because they were too big to fail, we are going to break them up. When we talk about the needs of the American people, everybody in this room, everybody in this country understands that if we are going to succeed economically, we need the best educated workforce in the world. It is beyond comprehension, really is, that today we have hundreds of thousands of bright young people who have done well in high school, who have a burning desire to go to college. But they cannot go to college for one reason, and that is their families lack the funds. Now that is pretty crazy. It's not only unfair to those young people, it is absurd for the future of our country. We need to tap the best intellectual capabilities of all of our people. Who knows how many great scientists and doctors and teachers are out there that are never going to get the education that they should have. Now, 100 or so years ago, very courageous people stood up and they said, you know what, we are going to have public education in America, which means that all of our kids, not just the wealthy, but all of our kids, working class kids, are going to be able to get an education. Now, my dad came from Poland at the age of 17, dropped out of high school, didn't have much education. My mom graduated high school. I went to public education through public schools, and I thank those people who fought for public education. But the world has changed in 100 years. 50 years ago, a high school degree, and by the way, not everybody had a high school degree, a high school degree would enable you to go out and get a good job. Today, in many ways, a college degree is the equivalent of what a high school degree was 50 years ago. And that is why I believe that in the year 2016, when we talk about public education, we must be talking about making public colleges and universities tuition free. And the other half of our absurd approach toward higher education is that we got millions of people in this country today who are overwhelmed with outrageously high levels of student debt. Anybody here with student debt? What kind of numbers are we talking about? 20,000? 70,000? 100,000? 200,000? I don't know what to say. I think you won. Now, here's the point. I want you what this campaign is about. What it demands of all of us is do not accept the status quo. Think outside of the box. Take a deep breath. There's a woman here, $200,000 in debt? Okay. $300,000 in debt. All right. All right. I have talked to people all over this country in the same position. Now stop and think for a second. What crime did these people commit to have to be burdened with oppressive loan payments for decade after decade? There are people with student debt who cannot afford to get married, cannot afford to have kids, cannot afford to buy a home. For what? For the crime of getting an education? We should be rewarding people for getting an education, not punishing. we are going to do, part of our legislation, is to allow individuals with student debt to refinance their loans at the lowest possible interest rates they can find. Now, my opponents in the Wall Street Journal, Washington Post, all the establishment media and politicians, they say, sounds like a great idea, Bernie, but you know what? We can't. How they could have done exactly the wrong thing. What we must be doing is making it easier for people to install solar panels, not hard. So I sincerely hope that your state will rethink that disastrous decision. When we begin to start thinking big, when we begin to understand that we are the wealthiest country in the history of the world, and by that I mean, if we were a poor country, we would have a certain type of conversation. No, you can't rebuild your crumbling infrastructure, create millions of jobs. No, you can't lead the world in combating climate change. No, you can't make public colleges and universities tuition free. We're a poor country. We are not a poor country. And when we look all over the world, what we see is that every major country on earth, the United Kingdom, France, Germany, Holland, Scandinavia, Canada, every major country has reached the decision that health care is a right of all people. I'm a member of the committee that helped write the Affordable Care Act. And the Affordable Care Act has done some very important things. We got rid of this private insurance company obscenity called pre-existing conditions. Remember that? How pathetic was that? To tell people, oh yes, we'll write you an insurance policy except for what you need the most. It's like getting a fire insurance policy except if you have a fire. We added 17 to 18 million more people to health insurance ranks. And we did away with discrimination against women who were paying higher premiums because they were women. Okay? But here is a big but. Whenever I say a big but, it somehow doesn't come out the way I mean. What I mean to say is, despite the progress of the Affordable Care Act, many, many problems remain. Here are some of them. 29 million people still have zero health insurance. Many of you in this room and tens of millions of others do have insurance, but you are underinsured with high deductibles and high co-payments. All right? What kind of deductibles are we talking about?
2,000.
5,000. No insurance. Okay. All right. What it means is all over this country, people have deductibles 5,000, 8,000, whatever. And you know what that means? What it means is when you get sick, if you don't have any money, you don't go to the doctor. And what that means is, and I have talked to doctors all over the country, what they say is that people come into their office much sicker than they should be. When you first felt that symptom, and they said, well, I didn't have any insurance, or I had a high deductible, I couldn't afford it. And here's the truth. We lose thousands of people every single year because by the time they go to the doctor is late, or then they end up in the hospital for pain and expense. All of you should know that we pay by far the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs. In fact, the pharmaceutical industry are some of the great rip-off artists in this world today. Here is crazy. You want to talk crazy? 1 out of 5 Americans today go to the doctor. Doctor writes a prescription. They cannot afford to fill that prescription. That is crazy. Why the hell do you go to the doctor in the first place? You can't afford to fill it. We have elderly people all over this country cutting their medicine in half. Meanwhile, you'll all be delighted to know the 3 major drug companies in this country made $45 billion profit last year. So, we're going to do 2 things. Number 1, we are going to say and do and make certain that the pharmaceutical industry stops ripping off the American people. And number 2, I have been critiqued for this over and over again, and I accept the criticism, so let me say it again. I believe that healthcare is a right for all people, not a privilege. That is why I believe we've got to join the rest of the industrialized world and work towards a Medicare for all single-payer program. And what Kurt told you, Kurt, who introduced small businessman, told you, is absolutely true. We are spending now far more per capita than the country. We spend 3 times, almost 3 times more than the British, 50% more than the French, more than the Canadians, and provide health care to all of the people. What Kurt told you is true. That if we can pass a Medicare for all single-payer system, middle-class families will save thousands of dollars a year on their health care costs. Small businesses will save many thousands of dollars a year. We have got to have the courage to stand up with the insurance industry and the pharmaceutical industry and pass a Medicare for all. When we talk about the issues facing this country, let us never forget that right now, as we speak, there are some 11 million undocumented people in this country. People who are living in fear, people who are living in the shadows. All right, can we get a doctor? A medic?
Right here.
Somebody pass out?
We got an EMT here. Just an EMT.
Oh, great.
I'm in EMT if you guys need. Oh, okay. Well, it looks like they already got some.
Go for it.
All right, thank you guys. Okay, she looks fine. Well, that's right, it does. Let me get back to one of the points that I was making, and this, this just tells you that this gentleman here just said that everybody needs healthcare. You don't know when it's going to be. You don't know when you're going to get sick when you have an accident, and that's why healthcare must be a right for all people. And by the way, somebody raises this issue. Everybody here knows that we have a mental health crisis in this country. Mental health is part of healthcare available to all people. Here is another issue that we need to deal with. In this country, there are 11 million people who are undocumented. These are people who are living in the shadows, people living in fear, people who are being exploited, people who are scared to death that somebody in their family will be deported tomorrow. As President of the United States, I will do everything that I can. A, to see that Congress passes comprehensive immigration reform with a path toward citizenship. And if Congress does not do its job, we will use the executive orders that come from the presidency. My friends, we are in a pivotal moment in American history. The last point that I want to make to you is what you already know, and that is real change in America has always come from the bottom on up, not from the top on down. No president, Bernie Sanders or anybody else can do it alone. We need millions of people to stand, get involved in the political process in every way possible. Here's the truth. The truth is that constantly the people country are so powerful. Wall Street, large and don't know this is when millions of people stand up and say, enough is enough. Our government belongs to all of us, not just a handful of billionaires. Tomorrow in the Nevada caucus, you have a chance to make history. Please take